guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video that I have seen a couple people do here on BookTube. Those people being Sarah without an H, who I believe started this, and Reagan from the Peruse Project. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is reading the 5 books on GoodReads on my TBR that have the lowest GoodReads rating. So I went onto the GoodReads app, I put it onto average rating and then reversed it, and I will now be showing you the books that I'm going to be reading within the next, hopefully I can do this pretty quickly, but I'm not totally sure if I'm going to be able to because a couple of these are kind of long. I'm super excited to be doing this. I found this so interesting, not only to just see which books were at the bottom of the ratings of my TBR, but also just to see like if I agree with some of the ratings, because I find that like some books that are like universally disliked, I really enjoy. So it's gonna be interesting. There were a couple on the list that I was surprised to see there, and there were a couple that I wasn't surprised at all to see. So this should be very interesting, but without further ado, I'm gonna show you the books. So book number 5, or the book that had the highest rating out of all of these, was Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls by Lynn Weingarten. This has a 3.47 rating on GoodReads, so not great, but not totally awful. I've actually started this. I kind of picked it up and read like the first 50 or so pages, and it's interesting. I can kind of already see some flaws that I'm not totally into, but I'm excited to see how this goes. My best friend Sydney actually read this book, I think over a year ago now. She had some issues with it and she really wanted me to read it so that we could discuss said issues. It just took me quite a while to pick this up because I'm kind of one of those people that once somebody tells me like, oh, I had problems with this, I'm like, I don't want to jump into reading it, but I'm intrigued with how this book is going so far, so hopefully I can finish this up pretty quickly. The font is huge on this, and it's read really, really quickly so far, so hopefully this won't take me too long to get through. Basically, what I have gathered from this book is that we follow our character June. June goes to school one day and is told that her ex-best friend Delia has died, and that has been ruled a suicide. Basically, June doesn't believe this just because of some of the stuff that they are saying happened. Basically, June is led to believe that maybe it wasn't a suicide, maybe it was murder, and the story takes off from there. It sounds really interesting, so hopefully this picks up and gets better, but I don't have the highest hopes that it will. So the next book on the list is The Nest by Cynthia D'Apres-Sweeney. I probably butchered that, I apologize. So basically this has a 3.43 rating on GoodReads, and I have also read like a preview of this. Like I got bored at work and was reading the previews of these books, and it's interesting. I can kind of see where it might be. I can kind of see where this might get a little boring. I'm gonna be honest, when I picked this up, I picked it up because the cover is gorgeous. So this follows the Plum family, a wealthy group of siblings who are forced to confront one of their brothers who has basically been a reckless individual and is endangering their wealth in general. So it doesn't sound like the most interesting thing in the world, to be honest, and when I was reading the preview, the characters are kind of fascinating, but I can kind of see where this might be a little slow and not very exciting. So I'm intrigued and I'm hopeful, but I'm cautious. Next up is a book that I was not at all surprised to see on this list. I picked this up back when it first came out because I was a huge Twilight fan back in the day, and I was super excited when Stephenie Meyer released this, and that is Life and Death, Twilight Reimagined. So basically this is just the gender-bent version of Twilight, and I really feel like this was unnecessary at the time. I was excited, and now I'm just kind of like, what? Why? I have read the preview, and it's just kind of hard for me to not imagine the original genders. So like every time like we're seeing Bose, it's Bo, not Bella, every time we're seeing Beau's thoughts or reading from her perspective and everything, I'm just like imagining Bella, and then I'm like, oh wait, crap, it's not Bella. Or like I'm imagining Edward, not Edith. So that's been a struggle. I also just feel like this was totally not necessary, and I kind of am like, why did I buy this? But I have it, and it comes with a copy of Twilight on the other side. I won't be reading the Twilight version. I'm just going to be reading The Life and Death, which basically is just split down the middle. I'm not like unexcited. I kind of wish I was just rereading Twilight because I think I would appreciate that more, but this I'm kind of just like, okay. Next up is a book I am not at all surprised to see on here just from what I've heard about it, and that is The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. I remember when this came out, everyone was super excited because she was writing again, and then everybody read it and they were like, oh my god, that was so boring and blah, blah, blah. And I have read the preview on this, and it was quite a long preview, and I just really enjoy her writing. I just feel like even though she's not writing Harry Potter, it's still really comforting and I can feel her voice. So that I enjoyed a lot from the preview I read, and I'm hoping that I continually enjoy that and that I can get through this book without being bored to death, because I just hear that's like an overarching theme among people who have read this is that like, oh, it's boring and nothing happens. But I'm hoping that I can just appreciate the story and appreciate her writing. And this is probably going to take me a while, I can already tell. So, I mean, I hope I can do this before the end of the year, like finish these books, but we'll see. And last up is a book I was actually pretty surprised to see on this list. I think it just might be because it doesn't have as many ratings, but it has a 3.28 rating on GoodReads, and it is Before I Let Go by Marieke Ninjkamp. I am butchering, I'm so sorry, but I have also read a little preview of this, and from what I can tell, it's another case of a dead best friend, and it does take place in Alaska, which is interesting and a little bit different and not something I typically read from, especially in YA. So this should be interesting. I can kind of already see where there are things that I'm kind of just like bugged by. I'll get more into that once I finish it, obviously, but it's interesting. It's like fascinating how, you know, they're saying that it's a suicide again. I think it's funny that these supposed suicide books are on this list, so interesting. But yeah, I'm excited to check this out, see how it goes, and hopefully these books are not a waste of time. So those are the 5 books that have the lowest average rating on my GoodReads. Hopefully I enjoy them, because it's like, I'm not trying to not enjoy them. Like, I'm not picking crappy books and hoping like, oh, I hope I hate this. I'm hoping that they're enjoyable and that I don't feel like they're a complete waste of time. It's also kind of forcing me to read, you know, stuff that was older that on my TBR, or things that, you know, I hadn't heard great things about, so I wasn't reaching for. So that's really interesting, and it's also just really interesting to see if I agree with the reviews on GoodReads in general or not. So thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all the normal stuff, and I'll see you guys again really soon. Bye.